Forgiving yourself for the bad decisions that you made with money is essential. Like, it's a really great first step, because we have to be able to look at the past, look at our past, and understand like, this was a decision that I made that like isn't actually in accordance with what I wanted, that like wasn't actually filling me up with joy, that wasn't working towards my long or short-term goals, etc., right? But when we neutralize the emotion behind that, aka the shame, so you can look back at those decisions, be it like over swiping your credit card, be it like constantly like pulling from your savings account, or like always overdrafting, again, whatever that quote unquote dysfunctional like behavior was, looking back at that, not with shame, but like, what was going on, like to try to understand so that we can again tweak the behavior like truly. That is essential, right? But then we have to move past that too. We have to like take it a step further and start to tweak that identity, right? Like, how do you see yourself as you relate to money? If you're always going to see yourself as like bad with money, as not a saver, then no matter like how many times you create a new budget or how many times you download a new spreadsheet, like you're always going to act in accordance with that identity, you know? That's why my framework starts with that, starts with developing that rooted identity, that rooted mindset, right? Because when we see ourselves differently with money, like as a wealth builder, as a money manager, as like a total baddie with money, like everything just falls into place, you know? And so like what I used to see in clients before I did this, right? Like when I created this strategy first, and I was like, here's your debt snowball, here's your like budget, you know, whatever it was, right? Like the strategy first mentality, like it created dissonance, right? They'd be making their debt payments a couple months in, but then because they still saw themselves as bad with money, eventually it led to like self-sabotage, you know? So that shift that I made is like, okay, mindset and identity has to come first, because once you believe that you're good with money, this strategy just flows naturally. Because if I believe I am this person, I know I am this person, of course I'm acting like that person would, you know? So like what this looks like is like, of course you have a payday routine, of course money management is like self-care, it's like, of course you're automating your savings and investing, you pay yourself first, because again, that's just who you are fundamentally, like at the core. So like the result is that you become like empowered, you become like unstoppable, like fully aligned, right? Not just with your finances, but with your life like as a whole. And that's the transformation of wealth rising. It's an understanding that like, if I shift first my identity, then I can develop naturally that integrated practice. Then obviously the strategic action is going to flow. I'm always going to be able to find a way to like ensure that I can go to Paris 2026, right? To also ensure that like if my long-term goal is to retire early, all right, I'm going to retire by 55, because I can again map out the calculations, map out the roadmap, the strategy to get myself there. And because I am so empowered, so capable with money, I have completely embodied that into my entire life. So now all of a sudden, the life that I've always dreamt of living, that's what I'm actually living in my reality.